It didn't come before the Vespa, but it was the only beast
Keep it
that
coming,
made
don't let it
Vespa
slip.
tremble. An answer that came out of Milan in
Got it.
1963.
One more push.
The legend that Italian youth took to their hearts. The world's first production scooter with a front disc brake. And now this legend is lying in a junkyard. A junkyard nobody knows about. At the edge of town. This old junkyard where nobody comes and goes. Nobody cares about these scooters worth more than money. Broken fences, rusted gates, rusted iron, crumbling walls, machines tangled up with the earth over the years. These machines were once riding down a street somewhere. Every one of them was once part of someone's life. Once, there was a key. Years ago, someone had started it up every morning and gone to work. Years ago, someone had taken a pleasant ride along the coastal road. Once, someone smiled listening to that small engine. And then it was abandoned. Just like that. Never looking back. Never even thinking about coming back. We walked slowly through the rows, looking in every direction, with careful steps. Crushed cars, bent frames, wheels that hadn't turned in decades. Everything here has a story left half-finished, a story nobody continued, a story nobody came back for. And then our feet stopped. There, among the weeds, beneath scrap metal, inside the rust, abandoned, forgotten, but still there. Still upright. Those clean Italian lines, the slim style body, that octagonal headlight cluster, that distinctive front mudguard, that white bodywork, and most importantly, that front disc brake. The disc brake on the world's first mass-produced scooter. Rust cannot hide these things. Time cannot erase them. Nothing can destroy them. This is a Lambretta TV200 Series 3. From April 1963 to October 1965, only 14,982 units were produced across the entire world, across all the years, across all the countries. Only 14,982. And one of them was lying right here. For years, for decades. In this junkyard that nobody knew about, waiting only for someone who understood its worth, someone who would see it, someone who would recognize it, someone who knew its value. We understood. We knelt down beside it, brushed the rust away with our hands, gently, carefully, as if we were afraid of damaging it, as if we were touching something very fragile. The chassis was intact. The engine cases were solid. The crankshaft turned, heavy, with resistance. But it turned. That was enough for us. That told us everything. That told us this machine was not finished. That told us this machine had been waiting for us, exactly us. We called the owner. A short conversation, a few minutes, and we agreed. From that moment on, this scooter was ours. Now it had a purpose. Now it had a future. This story was not over. It had never been over. We called the flatbed, and the loading began. Careful loading, unhurried, measuring every movement, thinking through every step. We lifted the scooter off the ground. It seemed reluctant to leave the earth it had pressed down on for decades. It had fused to it, rooted itself there, as if it didn't want to leave, as if that junkyard had become its entire world, as if it had come to belong there. But we worked patiently. We eased it slowly up the ramps, ran the straps through, secured every point, made sure not even the smallest part was damaged. Because this mattered. This wasn't just cargo. This was a piece of Italian design history. This was a piece of mod culture. This was 1963. And finally, it was on the platform. Safe, secure, ready. And that morning, as the sun had not yet fully risen, as the rusted gates of that junkyard closed behind us, the 1963 Lambretta TV200 Series 3 left the place where it had been abandoned forever. I watched in the rearview mirror as we drove. It stood there strapped to the platform, rusted, damaged. It looked tired, but elegant. Still elegant. Still with those Italian lines. As if it knew. As if it had been waiting. As if it had always known this day would come. We were going. To a workshop. To hands that knew the value of this machine. To a mind that understood what it was. This was its first journey in years. A small journey, but a very important one. Because the real journey hadn't even started yet. When it arrived at the restoration workshop, we saw the full picture for the first time. Under proper light, without shadows, without the darkness of the junkyard, without anything hiding what time had done. The damage was heavier than we thought. The fuel tank had corroded from the inside. The Dell'Orto carburetor had seized solid. The electrical system had nearly rotted away entirely. The wiring crumbled between our fingers like old glass. The tires were falling apart. The white bodywork was cracked and faded. The front disc brake mechanism had locked up. But the chassis was intact. The engine cases were solid. The crankshaft turned. That was enough. That was everything. Because this machine had been through far harder conditions, and it hadn't broken. It had never broken. Now, to understand the story, we need to go back a little. The late 1940s. The Second World War had ended. Italy had been devastated. Factories had been damaged. People had no money. But they wanted to move. Cheaply, practically, reliably. In those days, there was the Innocenti factory in Milan. A factory that produced steel tubing. Before the war, it had produced military equipment. After the war, they thought differently. More boldly, more human-focused. They designed a scooter. It would be affordable, it would be practical, and it would be beautiful. In 1947, the first Lambretta was born. The name came from the Lambretta River of Milan, and that name quickly became known all around the world. Over the years, Lambretta grew. Each new series improved. Each new model became more elegant, more powerful, more modern. And in 1962, the Series 3 TV stepped onto the stage. Slim style. Slim, elegant, sporty. Completely different from previous models. Cleaner lines, less decoration, more pure elegance. New octagonal headlight cluster, new front mudguard, new panel design, and a historic innovation. The world's first mass-produced scooter with a front disc brake. This was a revolution. In those days, scooters and motorcycles used drum brakes. Small wheels locked up under sudden braking. It was dangerous, especially on wet surfaces, especially when riding fast. Lambretta solved this problem with a disc brake. Smooth, reliable, controllable. This technology is still used on every motorcycle and scooter today. Lambretta discovered this 60 years ago. And the story of the TV200 began a little differently. The British wanted it. More precisely, Peter Agg, the managing director of Lambretta Concessionaires in the UK, wanted it. He went to Innocenti. He asked for a larger engine, for more top speed. His customers wanted it. The market wanted it. Innocenti refused. "We don't make larger engines," they said. "If you want larger machines, buy motorcycles," they said. But Peter Agg didn't give up. He persisted. He went back again. He asked again. And eventually, Innocenti agreed. But with one condition. "The warranty won't come from us," they said. "You will take responsibility," they said. Peter Agg agreed. And the engine of the TV175 was bored out to 198 cc's. The carburetor was enlarged. The exhaust was revised, 10.75 horsepower, 97 kilometers per hour, and extraordinary speed for a scooter at that time. The launch of the TV200 caused a great stir. In England, people queued for one. They called it Gran Turismo, GT200. Italian design, British persistence, and this combination went down in history. Mod culture fell in love with the TV200. In 1960s England, the mods had become synonymous with their scooters. Leather jackets, parkas, Brighton seafront, and Lambretta. The TV200 became the sacred machine of mod culture, the symbol of youth's freedom, the proof that speed and elegance could coexist. Today, in the vintage scooter world, the TV200 is a legend, the dream of collectors, the most sought-after model by restoration specialists. Only 14,982 units were produced. And now, one of those 14,982 stood before us, disassembled, laid out across the bench. Every part under the light, every part waiting for us, waiting to come back to life. Work began. First, the chassis went to sandblasting. Years of accumulated rust, old paint, dirt, time. All of it stripped back layer by layer. Work that demands patience. Work that cannot be rushed. Under each layer, another layer. Under each layer, cleaner metal. And finally, the metal that emerged underneath was pure white, clean, solid, untouched. From the day it left the Innocenti factory in Milan in 1963, the same solidity, the same precision. The engine was removed. 198cc air-cooled two-stroke single-cylinder engine. Every part was handled one by one, inspected, cleaned, measured. Not a single part was skipped. Every part mattered. Every part was a piece of this machine. The cylinder was honed. The piston was replaced. The gasket set was renewed. The bearings were checked. The crankshaft was cleaned and balanced. The Del Orto SH120 carburetor was completely rebuilt. The diaphragm was cleaned. The needle was adjusted. The float was checked. The fuel system was renewed from scratch. The ignition system was checked. The magneto was overhauled. The spark plug lead was replaced. The 4-speed gearbox was removed. Every gear was inspected, cleaned, reassembled. The wiring harness was rerouted from scratch. Every cable, every contact, every fuse, all of it new, all of it clean. And the most important part, that front disc brake system, the world's first mass-produced scooter disc brake, a piece of history, a masterpiece of engineering. Every part was removed. Every part was inspected. The disc surface was checked. Minimum thickness was measured. The mechanism was cleaned, readjusted, reassembled. Now it was working again, just like 60 years ago, exactly as it should be. The front dampers were overhauled. The rear shock absorber was renewed. The rear drum brake was checked. The rims were cleaned. Fresh tires fitted. 3.50 times 10. Lambretta's characteristic small wheels. The tank was cleaned from the inside, painted on the outside. That iconic white bodywork gleaming again. The color panel was chosen to match the original. Every color, every shade, faithful to the original Innocenti colors. The octagonal headlight cluster was restored. The headlight lens was replaced. The taillight was renewed. The seat was reupholstered. The twist grip handlebars were checked. The levers were overhauled. The footrest was cleaned. The side panels were renewed. Every part, every bolt, every connection, with precision, with patience, without rushing. Days passed, weeks passed. Every morning when we walked into the workshop, a little more had been completed. A little more had come back to life. A little more had returned, part by part, bolt by bolt, patiently, quietly, because this machine deserved it. Every hour, every minute, every drop of attention, because this machine was not ordinary. This machine was history. And one morning, the 1963 Lambretta TV200 Series 3 stood before us, complete, whole, ready. The real moment arrived. We opened the fuel tap, primed the fuel line, ran the final checks, went over every connection one more time, left nothing to chance. Then we turned the ignition key, pressed the kickstarter. Once,
I can't believe it's
silence.
finally done.
Twice, a faint
It looks
tremor.
incredible,
Something was
seriously.
waking up inside. After all those decades, something was waking up. Something was returning from a deep sleep. 3 times, the engine fired. That characteristic light, rhythmic 2-stroke Lambretta sound filled the workshop. Tone, rhythmic, distinctive, the sound that no other scooter can make, the feeling that no other engine can give. The engine trembled, settled, dropped to idle. Nobody spoke. There was no need to speak. That sound was saying everything. That sound was saying 1963. That sound was saying Milan. That sound was saying the Brighton seafront in the 1960s. Then we took it outside. The sun is shining. The engine is running. Time for the test ride. We slipped into first gear. Asphalt. A narrow street. That 198cc engine pushed lightly and nimbly. Second, third, fourth. A top speed capability of 97 kilometers per hour. Extraordinary for a scooter in 1963. And in every gear, that feeling. That Lambretta feeling. That Italian elegance. The spirit of mod culture. The feeling of scooters riding along Brighton's seafront in the 1960s. The feeling that Peter Agg created by persisting with Incenti. Someone had left this scooter in a junkyard. One of the machines produced in only 14,982 units. An example of the world's first disc-braked scooter. As if it had been finished. As if it had no value. But it wasn't finished. Because some machines live beyond time. Because some machines, no matter how much damage they take, never lose the spirit inside them. This machine's spirit was there. It was there in the junkyard too. It was there in the workshop too. And now it was there on the road too. Just like those Incenti engineers in Milan. Just like the people who restored it. The 1963 Lambretta TV200 Series 3. From the junkyard to the road. Free again.